Welcome to In Her Voice, a podcast created for women who listen to and live by their deepest wisdom, their inner voice. This was made for you, the woman who feels pulled to more, to lead, to create, to dream, and to be a world changer. My name is Kelly Covert, and I am an inner voice coach. Join me here each week as we explore what it means to reach for your inspired potential, all while honoring your worthiness each and every day. Hello, this is Kelly Covert, and you are listening to In Her Voice. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am recording this on January 5th, and I just want to say to you, Happy New Year's. I think that all of us are so grateful that we are out of 2020 and into 2021 and really looking forward to a new year, a year that is full of joy and that is full of transformation and that is full of happiness and success and gratitude and fulfillment and all of these things that we say that we want to feel, which is truth, right? So, I have really been sitting in something over the past, I would say, week. And I haven't really shared a lot about it because I was feeling really triggered by the whole thing. And so I processed through a lot of what I was feeling through journaling. And I really feel like it's important to share with you today. And that is this. It is a new year. And you are good enough already. You are good enough already. You know, we always get into this mindset, it's a new year, let's make resolutions and let's make goals and let's make these changes and do all of the things. And here's the thing, there is nothing wrong with setting goals. There's nothing wrong with wanting change in your life. There's nothing wrong with craving transformation. But wanting change does not mean that you are not good enough already. And I feel like the messaging that we receive, particularly around New Year's, particularly if we are women, is that you aren't good enough right now. And so you need to do X, Y, and Z in order to be good enough. And that can look like dieting. It could look like exercising. It could look like starting a business. It can look like reading more books. It can be so many things. So like I said, it's okay to want change. I want change. I want some things to be different for me this year. That doesn't mean that I can't love myself now. That doesn't mean that I can't find joy in my life now. It doesn't mean I can't be happy now. And the issue that I have with New Year's resolutions and goal settings is I think that there's an innate underlying statement that you're not allowed to feel good enough until you reach that goal. Like when you reach it, then you will be good enough. But right now, not so much. And so I really just want to remind you over and over and over again that you are good enough already. And when you want change in your life, and there's nothing wrong with that, it's so important for you to ask yourself why. So I'm going to use the easiest example. You can apply this to any situation that you're wanting to change. I'm going to talk about our bodies. So if you have a New Year's resolution or if you want to lose weight, and there's nothing wrong with wanting that, there's nothing wrong with wanting to change your body, and you ask yourself why. If the answer is even remotely like, I am not good enough as I am already, then there's work to be done. And, you know, the challenge is so much of what is considered good enough is what's considered to be the best or the most desirable thing is something that we've been taught means the best. So like going back to our bodies, as women, we've been taught that the smaller you are, the more beautiful you are. It's true. That's what we've been taught. It is not true, though. It is not true that you are more valuable the less you weigh. And I'm so tired and so sad to see women buy into this myth that if I just was tinier, if I just weighed less, then I would feel good enough. Because that's a whole system that someone else has created and that we've adopted as our own. Every time that we think that we're going to feel better about ourselves because we're skinnier is just another time where we're saying we're taking on someone else's thing that they made and saying that it's ours. And I'll tell you what really set me off was as you know, or you might not know, but I have a Peloton and I love it. And I love exercising. I love being healthy. And I'm in a few Peloton groups on Facebook. And the other day, someone put a post about a particular instructor on Facebook. And they said something like, oh, she's so beautiful. Her body is perfect. Those are my body goals. I want to look like her. And it just really hit me of like, how often do we discount our own innate worthiness and beauty and enoughness because we're comparing ourselves to what someone else says is the best. Years and years ago, it used to be considered to be more beautiful to be curvy. And that, like, you can see in old paintings that the women were heavier and they were very curvy, and that was considered to be beautiful. And that was the standard. So this is the standard that we put on ourselves, is just this made up thing that we base our enoughness on. And this is true not just of our bodies, right? This is true of, our jobs and our bank accounts and what it means to be successful. And, if how many followers you have on Instagram, all of the things. And, I just really want to remind you that if your desire for change comes from an external place of not feeling good enough, of not living up to a certain standard or a certain expectation, then I really want you to sit with why. Is this what you really deeply from inside of you want? Is this really going to change you? Because if we don't change our insides, it doesn't matter how many goals we hit. On the outside, the insides are going to feel the same. So when we start to cultivate and develop our enoughness now and understand that we are good enough already, and we practice that and we honor it and we see it in other people, that is what changes how we feel. And, you might say, well, then how do you hold on to both things? How can you say I'm good enough already and I want to change at the same time? Because of this. You don't want change just because you're not good enough. You want change because maybe you want something different. And maybe that change comes from honoring your enoughness already. I hope this is making sense because it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see women buying into a myth that if they do a certain thing, it's going to make them feel good enough. The only thing that makes you feel good enough is seeing that you're good enough already. is reminding yourself day after day after day that you are enough, is being kind to yourself, is loving yourself. And I feel like I saw enough of this around about the interwebs that a reminder was in order. So here's your reminder again. You are good enough already. If you are interested in diving deeper into this idea of self-love, of letting go of the standard, I highly recommend you listen to Brene Brown's interview with Sonya Renee Taylor on Unlocking Us. It is powerful. And she talks a lot about this idea of the ladder, of, where you stand on the ladder and how we base our self-love on that. I think that it's really good. And she goes so far to say that these standards that we, take on are oppressive. And I believe that to be true. So I highly recommend that. Another resource that you can use if you really care about your own enoughness and you want to cultivate that is the Enoughness Planner. You can get that. That's by me, by the way. You can get that on Amazon, and you can, the best link to get that is kellycovert.com/enoughness. And what the Enoughness Planner helps you do is create kinder habits that support your enoughness and that remind you daily that you are good enough. Because it's that repetition and, over and over and over again, understanding that you are worthy now, that makes a difference, not losing 20 pounds. So, and then lastly, if this is something that you're hearing this and you're like, I cannot even imagine what it would be like to say that I'm good enough now and to desire change at the same time. And I will admit that is a challenging thing to hold on to at the same time, because we have been taught that wanting change means we're not good enough. And so if you really want to start to integrate those two in your own enoughness and really understand what your inner voice says about these things, I would encourage you to check out my one-on-one coaching. We would start with a deep dive session, which just is a single one-off session, and you can sign up for those at kellycovert.com. So remember this. Right now, right this minute, this very minute, you are good enough already. You can want change at the same time that you are good enough. You are worthy.